This episode of Walt Disney World Today is being sponsored by MEI and Mousefan Travel, and MEI and Mousefan Travel is the official travel agency of Walt Disney World Today, and it's perfect for when Len Testa tells you, like 3 days before, hey, do you want to go to Walt Disney World? I'll pay for it. And you need to find someone to book the trip for you. No one better than MEI and Mousefan Travel. It's the travel agency that I personally use when I stay on Walt Disney World property, even when Len calls me at the last second. So it's a great service. Check them out. Go to www.mousefantravel.com.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
And it's Wednesday, June 4th, 2008, and this is episode 418 of Walt Disney World Today. I'm Matt Honchford from StudioTheCentral.com. On the show today, we have Len Testa, co-author of The Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World. Hi, Len.
How's it going, Matt?
Outstanding.
Yeah, excellent.
Also joining us is Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Hi, Mike.
Live from the Bronx. Everything is great and dandy tonight.
Ooh, old school Mike Newell coming from the Bronx.
Oh.
And also on the show today, we have Mike Scopa of allears.net. Welcome, Mike.
There's something weird out there.
Ooh.
Len.
Yeah, right.
There's something weird out there. It sounds familiar.
Oh, Stitch?
Nope.
Stitch's Greatest Escape?
There's something weird.
Alien Encounter?
Ooh, nope.
There's something weird out there.
I don't know. What is it, Mike?
Captain EO.
Captain EO is right. Wow. Pulled it out of his hat.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's what it was.
Wow.
It's Wednesday. We're answering your listener questions, and we're going to start today off with an email from John in Iowa, who writes, I'll be staying for 10 days at All-Star Music this June. As I'm aware there are no gyms at the Valley Resorts, can I get a pass to another facility such as the ones at the Contemporary or Boardwalk? Cardio won't be a problem with all the walking done in the parks, but I'd like to be able to lift weights a few times. Do any of you manly men have any ideas?
I can remember one time I stayed at the Caribbean or Coronado Springs, and I purchased a length of stay membership at the gym at the Contemporary. This was back about 10 years ago. I don't know if this is still the same policy, but that's what I did one time.
You might be able to do it at the Grand Floridian. Where's he staying?
All-Star.
Generally, the resorts that have spas allow you to buy a day pass for $10 or $15. That'll let you do that. I don't know whether they'll the resorts that don't have spas will let you do that, but that's an interesting question.
If he's a DVC owner, Mike Newell, correct me if I'm wrong, DVC owners can use the gyms, right?
Yeah, my wife is not a big fan of the gym at Old Key West, so she rides over to Saratoga Springs, and as long as she has a DVC membership card and the room key, they let her in, no problem.
Right, and that's, of course, at another DVC resort. That's
exactly. Right. She's never tried one of the other spas, but the one at Saratoga was not a problem.
That might be your best idea. Otherwise, just start, lifting up strollers or something while you're waiting in line, or use your kids as free weights.
I'll lift up strudel in Germany.
You're really, geez.
Next email is from Jenny Beck of Jeromesville, Ohio. Writes, hi guys, I love listening to the show. I always appreciate the humor and the good-natured banter you share, and if it's not good-natured, you're great actors. I have a question that might be a bit strange, but I'm hoping you can alleviate some anxiety for me. Perhaps I'm the only one, but I have a hard time interacting with cast members. I want to, but always end up chickening out. When I see a cast member nearby serving guests quietly on the sidelines, I often have an urge to approach them and show them my gratitude for all the attention they pay to make my day magical by giving them a few moments of my own, or just to talk and break up what was a very monotonous day for them. It seems like this would be easy, but I have this fear, real or imagined, that he or she will be a Mr. Grumpy Gills, nice Nemo reference, and
nice.
I'd make a fool of myself, or worse, that I could be bothering them. I know the humanity. I've read stories of other guests who interact with cast members with ease and have a blast, as well as stories from cast members who were touched or encouraged by a guest who took the time to talk to them rather than just asking the next parade or if this particular shirt is on sale. So here's my question. How do you do this? I'm interested in reassurance, I guess, that that cast members are open to guests asking them more personal questions. I don't plan to inquire about their fraternity house antics at Narcoossee's or what really goes on in the Cave of Wonders after hours, but along the lines of where they are from, how long they've worked there, their favorite part of their job, etc. Can you reassure me that cast members really are open to guests interacting with them? It'd make me feel a whole lot better, and I think it would give them the courage. It would give me the courage to add a really personal element to my vacations that would be something unique to look forward to each time. I think this is a perfect question from Mike Scopa.
Oh, gee, well, I just go up to this was Jamie, right? That was the
Jenny.
Jenny. Well, Jenny, keep in mind that there may be cast members out there who are dying for guests to come up and speak to them. I think that we all at one point might have had that reticence or whatever to approach a cast member, but over the years we have found that they are.
Did I log into the McNeil Lair report using the word reticence? What the?
I think you'll.
What's going on here? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Mr. Tester. Mike Newell will testify that on our last trip, he and I and Annette Owens went up to a cast member outside City Hall and just started a conversation, and I couldn't get over how bubbly she was and how gracious and excited she was that we were talking to her, and she was going in and getting us information and bringing out buttons and stuff, and it's just, I think that all you need is to do it once, and I think you'll be fine. Go up and say, excuse me, could you tell me when the 3 o'clock parade starts? And I think you'll be fine.
I totally agree. Cast members are among the nicest people out there. Really, to run into someone who's having a bad day or just not I think you can pretty much get that right offhand in terms of you'll be able to tell that without even walking up to them that they're maybe not having the best day out there. But I think I definitely should. Really, there's nothing to be afraid of. They're very talkative. They're very nice. Really, in my experience, it's wonderful. So definitely go for it. Next email's from John Strickland of Decula, Georgia, who writes, I'll be there on my next trip with my wife, our boys, ages 8 and 10, and my wife's parents in their 50s. We're trying to decide between going to one of the water parks for the day or maybe going to Lanuba. Which do you recommend? If you recommend one of the water parks, which one? The boys seem to like Typhoon Lagoon based on what they read in the books, including, of course, the unofficial guide, but I think Blizzard Beach looks better. Thanks for your answers and keep up the great work.
How old are the boys?
8 and 10.
Yeah, I think they might actually enjoy Blizzard Beach a little bit more than Typhoon Lagoon. I think some of the rides might be a little bit more appropriate for them. Some of the slides, I mean.
But would they enjoy Typhoon? Would you say Blizzard Beach? Would they enjoy that more than Lanuba?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think kids are going to be into Cirque du Soleil? They might enjoy it for a few minutes, but. And
depends upon where they're sitting. If they're sitting way in the back, it's like, when is this going to be over?
I know.
Next email's from Mickey PC of Blaine, Washington. It's hey guys, listening to your show all the time. You guys crack me up. Love and kisses to all of you for all the info and Disney magic I get from listening to you. And a big hug and kiss to Len because of his comment on a recent show about the crowd calendar. I looked up his site Touring Plans and checked it out. I bought the book, in fact, and decided to change my trip time from the first week in February 2009 to the second week due to the crowds they are expecting because of some football thing or another thing going on down there. I believe the crowds will be lighter then. So here's my question. This will be our second trip, the first one being back in October 1999. And I was wondering if booking the Fantasmic dinner plan at the Brown Derby was worth the time and effort. We ate at Mount Melrose the first time, and the only thing that sticks out was the glass after glass of lemonade we drank because all through it, there was the middle of October and it was almost 90 degrees, and we were from the West Coast. Is the Brown Derby worth the money, and is it worth the deal to see Fantasmic, or should we just skip the dinner and see the show? I'm going to tell you, Mickey, the best thing to do is skip the package. The package isn't worth it for anything. I've mentioned this on a number of different shows, and primarily the seats that you're going to get stink, and it's not worth it in terms of price. Eat somewhere, you don't have to be locked into the package, and just arrive there at Fantasmic, I would say anywhere from around 45 minutes beforehand, and you'll get much better seats. You won't have a problem at all. Also, we'll be there for 7 nights and 8 days. Would the Magic Your Way Plus dining package be a good deal?
In February.
Yeah.
it's a little too early. If she can get dining reservations for her first or second choice hotels, then yeah, it makes sense. Otherwise, no, it doesn't. So 180 days out is going to be sometime in what?
July,
August?
no, August, September.
August or September? Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say check then and try and get reservations. If you can get reservations for your first or second choice restaurants, then it probably does make sense. You'll save around $4 or $5 per person per day on meals. Otherwise, no.
Great. By the way, I'm booking my trip
Thank you.
through Mouse Fan Travel, and I'm sure they can answer the questions for me, but wanted to hear you all discuss it. It would be like my 15 minutes of fame in 30 seconds. There you go.
There you go.
Perfect.
Thanks for reading the book.
Next email is from Linda Gilbert, who writes, Dear Matt, Mike, and Len, thanks for all of your hard work you do on the show. I really enjoy listening to your shows and hope you'll continue producing them for many years. I was wondering if you would mention our chapter of the NFFC on your show. Recently, we started an Atlanta, Georgia chapter of this organization known as the Atlanta Briar Patch. Anyone interested in joining our group can contact us. They have an email address, and I'll put that in the show notes. And she goes on to write, Linda writes, I will send them all the relevant information that you'll need. We usually get together on the second Saturday of each month from 7 to 10 p.m. Thanks very much for your help. Always looking to help out fellow Disney nerds. Next email comes from Liam Collerton, who writes, I'm one of your United Kingdom listeners, and I love your podcast. I would like it even if I had no intention of visiting Walt Disney World because of the entertainment value of the show and the chemistry between you all. At least that would explain a thing or two. We always love listeners, especially Andy over there. We're just completing the purchase of a DVC contract at Beach Club and are trying to decide whether or not to visit in Easter or summer 2009. Summer would be cheaper, but we would be able to stay longer and the crowds would be lower, but the weather would be intense, and I don't deal with heat very well. We last visited in 2007 from the 9th through the 7th of April with early starts and religious use of the unofficial guide and Fast Pass, and we had a great time and never had to go to the queue for more than 15 minutes and often walked on to the attractions. So my question is this. We're planning to go April 4th through the 18th, 2009. How would these crowds compare with what we experienced back on April 9th through the 17th of 2007? Would you recommend a trip over Easter or a longer trip in the summer, say August 15th to September 2nd? Would the crowds in summer be that much less than in Easter?
So Easter 2007. One second, I'm looking at the crowd calendar. Easter 2007, it was...
From the 9th to the 17th, it was what?
9s and 10s.
Okay, and what's it looking... You obviously don't have a projection yet for April 2009, do you?
Oh, yeah. We're all the way to June now. Hold on one second.
Excuse me.
Well, we have to do a year in advance, so...
Oh, makes sense.
Easter, 10s again.
April 4th through the 18th.
Oh, 4th through the 18th. 4th?
4th through the 18th.
8s, 9s, and 10s. So about the same.
About the same. So what do you think, Scopa? Brave the crowds in Easter or go for that August 15th to September 2nd trip?
I would go for the August 15th.
So would I.
Because basically I'm looking to get as much as I can out of my time there. And I really think you can squeeze more activity in August than you would in Easter. So it's much more enjoyable.
The crowds are really going to drop off after August 15th.
Nice. Yep. Next email's from Mike Remy of Miami, Florida, who writes, Mangello, gentlemen. I have a quick question on something I saw in Epcot on my trip this past weekend. There are two spots, and one is on the walk between the Imagination Pavilion and World Showcase, and the other is back by, I believe, the Norway Pavilion, where it appears that playgrounds are being put in. Are these permanent fixtures, or are they part of the Food and Wine or Flower and Garden Festival? I'm a little curious, as this one seems that they are every day trying to make Epcot a little more kid-friendly.
They are for Flower and Garden. These are the things like the Bumblebee thing, the Goofy thing with the bumblebees and that stuff?
Yeah, I think it's the Flower and Garden stuff. They always put those up for... I know they put up for Flower and Garden. Did they put up for Food and Wine? No, just Flower and Garden. They have one over there. The one by Imagination is usually themed to Peter Pan. It's got the Captain Hook theme to it.
Does it? Okay, cool.
And the other one just has a Norway theme, I guess.
Yeah. We actually remember we went through when we were there in May. We went through the butterfly exhibit.
Yes.
I thought there was going to be more to it than that. I really wanted to run out screaming, "They burn! They burn!"
Yeah.
But no, sadly, I didn't get a chance. I mean, there weren't nearly as many butterflies there as I expected.
No, I agree.
I was
You expect a
anticipating.
swarm.
Yeah, exactly, and I didn't get a swarm
No, not at all.
That's sad.
It's something. Len, have you seen the new Indiana Jones film?
twice. Yes.
Yeah, I think you're expecting something out of that scene from the ants in that movie.
Yeah, I was kind of, and I didn't get that.
Yeah. Anyway, next email is from
Nice.
Brian from Lowell, Arkansas, who writes, "Love the show, blah, blah, blah. I know that most of us expect free dining to return this fall, and it did. And recently, Disney announced that the annual pass holders can add dining plan to the room package. So the natural question is, do you think or have heard that Disney will offer free dining with an annual pass reservation? I know that we'll never know for sure until Disney actually makes an announcement, which they did already. But just curious what you think or you've heard. You can make, for free dining, you can make one as an annual pass holder, right? You don't have to buy the ticket.
Right.
So there you go, Brian. Your answer, little late.
You're good.
It's all right, though. If you go in a time machine and you go back and then you go forward, you're totally set. Next email is from Dawn Heaven of Midland, Michigan, who writes, "Thank you all for the great information that is passed on to the masses. For their 40th wedding anniversary, my parents are taking all the quote-unquote kids to Disney. That includes my husband and myself, my brother and my niece. And my niece will be 4 and a half when we head down October 25th through the 30th. I have a few questions in regards to the ADRs. I called the Disney dining line, and they told me I could call on April 27th to make the ADRs. They also stated that I can make them for 10 days after that also.
Oh my God, Brett Caldwell and I have tried this the last 2 days with Disney. Go ahead. I know what your question is.
This is different from what I've heard. Have you heard about this also? Can we make an ADR for Cinderella's Royal Castle on April 27th, or will I have to wait until exactly 160 days before?"
So Brett Caldwell, who is the dad on the Disney Moms panel, and I have had this debate for like it's going on a month right now. And actually, he gave me his reservation number last night and let me call in today. When Brett calls, he gets an answer from Disney that it's 180 plus 9 days, not 10. I called today, and I literally went over every single day on the calendar with my CRO rep, and she said it's definitely 180 plus 10 days. So we got two different answers. So either way, you'll be able to call in advance and get reservations. But whether it's 180 plus 9 or 180 plus 10, still open to debate. I'd love to hear from listeners, though, who do this to let us know whether they're able to the full 190 days in advance.
Great. Next email is from Mark Smith, who writes, "In comparing the 2006 and 2008 PhotoPass offers, there were some changes that cry out for commentary on your keen minds and sharp wits. First, apparently, there's a discount on FastPass CDs if you pre-purchase it. This is not very well advertised, which is good if you're reaping the profits from PhotoPass, not so good if you're a buyer. Perhaps the guide should mention this?"
Ooh, interesting. So there's a discount if you how would you pre-purchase it?
That he doesn't say, but I don't know. There's some.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's out there. Second, warning. Comparing the CDs, it looks like the 2008 pictures have no EXIF data where, it has the date time taken. If you use software like Photoshop Elements, Lightroom, Picasa, that sorts, by date taken, you may have some work ahead of you as you merge those shots into your library. 3, apparently a good camera doesn't make a good photographer. 2008 pics will require Photoshop to remove bad backgrounds, the pole growing out of the head problem, and a couple that were out of focus. And lastly, Disney has moved some, but not all, of the ride pictures to PhotoPass, Test Track, but not Expedition Everest Rock and Roller Coaster. Let's encourage this trend.
Yeah, the couple of times I've tried PhotoPass, I've not got good photos at all, and that's why I really gave up on it, because it was to the point where if I'm going to trust this, somebody with my one shot at a really good memory, it was going to be me. It wasn't going to be some guy that has no accountability. So that's why I don't do it. That and the cost, I think, it's just crazy. I mean, you could buy a nice 5 megapixel camera and a printer now for essentially what a CD costs.
That's true. Next email is from Elise, who writes, "Hey guys, my name is Elise and I'm from Monroe, Michigan. I'm a new listener to your podcast, but I'm slowly yet surely catching up. My family and I are going to the world over Christmas 2008. It'll be me, my husband, and my parents, and my sisters, ages 23 and 19. I'm looking for some adult things for us to partake in and restaurants for us to try. My husband and I spent our honeymoon at Walt Disney World last year and absolutely loved it. Thanks for your help."
Narcoosseous.
Are you serious, or is that a joke?
No, it's a joke.
On a more yeah, I just got to make sure, you know. It's like that joke that bombs really bad, and then you're like, I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, exactly.
You tried to cover it up that it was a terrible joke. Well, seriously, though, a restaurant that I think that comes to mind, Jico. I know I go there with my sister, who's 24. She.
But okay, go ahead.
I know you don't like it, Len, but she loves it over there. Obviously, she has an eclectic taste, and she enjoys it, and the family does as well. What are some other adult activities that really would be more up their alley?
Does it have to be dinner?
No, I mean she's looking for adult activities to partake in as well as restaurants. So
I like Raglan Road. I think that's a good adult activity. It's got beer, it's got food. If you go after 9 p.m. Most nights, it's got a live band, which you really can't beat.
Yeah, no kidding.
I was going to say that, and then a trip to the Adventurers Club.
Yeah, that was mine.
I haven't been there in forever. I gotta go.
Yeah.
Newell, are you going down?
That's what we should have done in May. We all should have gone there. That would have been
Let's
fun.
go back.
Newell, I'm ready. Are you going to go?
I got to see if I can get the time off.
Okay. Well, if you can, then we'll all go. I mean, except for you, Scope, because, you can't make it because you got something more important, apparently, but whatever.
That's right, man. Wink, wink. That's right. Wink, wink.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to think of some activities that they could do in the parks that would be. I mean, let's face. I think the rides are still very relevant to adults as well. I mean, I think they can certainly enjoy them. You might want to participate in some of the tours. I think might be more up your alley. I know that Len, you loved the Behind the Seeds tour over in the Land Pavilion.
Yeah, I think it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of different interesting tours out there that you can partake in. I'll put a link.
The Segway tour.
Yeah, perfect.
I've been recommending the Segway tour to a lot of people. You're talking about the one at Fort Wilderness, right?
Either one.
I think the one at Fort Wilderness would be more fun.
I would also recommend renting those water mice over at any of the resorts that are on that have a significant water presence, and you can not so much like Port Orleans; those kind of stink because you're on a river. But the ones over in the Magic Kingdom resorts are great. Those are a lot of fun, whether you're an adult or even a younger adult. It's a lot of fun to just tool around in those for a while.
Even if you're an adult or a younger adult.
A younger one.
A younger adult. That's right.
So there's the sea racers too, though. There's the water mice, but then there's the sea racers, which I think are the more powerful ones, right?
Yeah, isn't that what? I thought they were the little blue boats. That's
yeah. There's two kinds. So there's the water mice, which are the smaller ones. I think appropriate for kids. Okay. And then there are the sea racers, which are the bigger ones, and I think more oriented towards adults. Those may be the ones that you're thinking of.
Gotcha. Next email is from Mike Scopa. It's from Lucy V of Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. Right, hi guys. Just wondering if you know what is going on with the construction with Pop Century.
I don't know where.
I think the classic years.
Oh, the classic years. I think we've covered this before. Lucy, what I recall back in 2006, I believe, I was told that Pop Century would begin. They're planning to begin construction or work on the classic years sometime in 2008, and they were hoping to have an opening date sometime in the spring of 2010. But as always, take that with a grain of salt. Things change, priorities get tossed around, and you never know what's going to happen. But that was the last I had heard. Construction would begin 2008, and a grand opening of the classic years would begin in 2010. Now, I have to also qualify that by saying that was before there was this talk about the possibility of suites in the classic years, phase 2 of Pop Century. So who knows?
Great. Next email is from Jennifer from Pennsville, New Jersey, who writes, "Hello again, gentlemen. I have a question for you regarding switching off, a.k.a. the baby swap. I read a post on the Disboards in which a woman had a frustrating experience with the measurement procedure at Soarin'. I won't take up your time with the details, but in her post she mentioned that when the cast member determined that her child was just barely met the 40-inch requirement, she was informed that even if they wanted to, they could not take advantage of the switching off option because the child met the height requirement. I know none of you currently have small children, although by the time you read this, Matt will probably have a few in elementary school. But have you ever heard of this? We have a trip planned for next December, and I'm guessing my 4-year-old will be tall enough for many rides, but not be mentally up for them. I can't imagine waiting in line for Tower of Terror and then having to walk away without riding or force a terrified 4-year-old onto the ride. Not to mention my 8-year-old might not want to might want to chicken out as well. Is this part of Disney's switching off policy, or just another case of Soarin' being the exception to the norm?
See, that's the thing. I would have thought that, there'll always be a case where a child may just not want to ride on the Tower of Terror, may not want to ride on a thrill ride, Expedition Everest or whatever, and therefore swapping would be allowed. So I'm really puzzled by this.
It goes back to the thing we talked about before with the cast members and the dining thing.
Nothing's consistent. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, get another cast member and they'll tell you that. No one's going to tell you that you can't use the child swap. That's crazy.
Yeah, I agree. There's obviously chicken exits for everything, but you should be able to still do the child swap thing, I would think, regardless.
Yeah. That's the thing you escalate to a supervisor. That's crazy.
Next email is from John Balcom of Anderson, South Carolina. Writes, can you recommend a website or sales rep from which to rent DVC points? I have checked a couple, for example, DVCrequest.com, but I'm unsure of a reputable one.
If only we knew of one.
Can't think of one.
A reputable DVC reseller?
No, DVC renter. I think that's what they meant.
Oh, person?
I think that's what he meant. Not because reseller, obviously, we have one of our sponsors is DVCresell.com.
Looking for like a matchmaker of some kind.
I mean, disc boards I think would work out fairly well, but
yeah, they have a lot of rules over there, and you can take a look over the disc boards, and they have a whole listing on their DVC rental board explaining the whole thing. It's been done many times. I wouldn't necessarily be that worried about it because it will in fact work, I think, for you. It's probably the best resource out there that I can think of. Next email is from Kevin Peace of Flagstaff, Arizona. Writes, good day, gentlemen. It seems that the Disney dining experience is accepted at most sit-down restaurants on property, but can you use it at quick service restaurants, such as getting a turkey leg at Sunset Ranch Market? The answer to that, Kevin, is no.
So sad.
Yeah, you can use it for alcohol, but you cannot use it at the counter service locations because it's mostly just the sit-down locations. So you just have to. I'll put a link in the show notes to the list of participating restaurants, and you can check that out for yourself. But unfortunately, it's just not everything. Not all of it over there, and at least over there, I mean, the prices aren't going to be that bad for you. Got time for, I think. What do you think, Newell? One more email?
Sure, why not?
All right, Mike, I'll let you pick. We've got Pirate and Princess Party, Shades of Green, or Bottled Water. Those are the subjects.
Let's go with bottled water for 200, Alex.
I was just saying that would be perfect. The answer. This email comes from Rob Craddock, who writes, I'll be visiting Walt Disney World in August. I want to know what type of bottled water I can bring in so that it looks like I bought it at the parks. Any way to save a buck. Why does
Dasani.
Yeah, it's Dasani, but why would he want to do that? Yeah, you can bring in Rob's own water that I just got out of the ocean.
Rob's swimming hole water. But we've got mail from readers who have wheeled in coolers into the parks without issue. So I don't think it's gonna be a problem.
Great. Well, again, this episode of Walt Disney World Today has been sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel, and MEI and Mouse Fan Travel is the official travel agency of WDW Today, and it's the travel agency that I use for my trips when I go down to Walt Disney World. It's a great service that I personally recommend, so why not go on and give it a try on your next trip that you want to plan and see how much easier it can be for you. Visit them at www.mousefantravel.com. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the Walt Disney World Today website at wdwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hodgeberg. We'll see you on the next show.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.